YouTube and welcome to another GV anime review where we have finally arrived at the last review for winter 2018. I kept both you and myself in anticipation since I have been dying to do this review. But since I had to wait 1.5 years for this anime to come out, waiting to the end to do its review felt like nothing. Today I am reviewing Violet Evergarden, my most anticipated anime ever. I was so hyped for this newest adaptation of Kyoto Animation. The trailers looked more than amazing, the original visual novel was highly awarded, and I hoped with every fiber in my body that this anime would blow me off my feet. The story of Violet Evergarden takes us to a state called Telesis, which just got out of a long and bloody war. Out of this war comes a young girl called Violet Evergarden. During the war, she was some kind of super soldier and she has never known anything else but war and killing. However, there is one person that she cares about, her superior who also took her in, Gilbert Bougainville. But Violet and Gilbert got separated during an attack and she hasn't found him again since. In order to start a new life, Violet starts working at the post office of Claudia Hodgkins, a former colleague and friend of Gilbert. At the post office, Violet discovers the work of auto memory dolls, some kind of ghost writers who put people's feelings into words. Violet also wants to become a doll because she wants to understand the final words that Gilbert said to her, being "I love you." If you have seen any of my previous reviews of a Kyoto Animation adaptation, then you know that I always start with the same positive point, being the animation. KyoAni is known for delivering stunning animation in all their animes. But just saying that the animation in Violet Evergarden was stunning would be a great injustice to this anime. The animation in Violet Evergarden was of a totally new level. This isn't like anything you have ever seen before in an anime. I can definitely see why it took KyoAni 2 years to produce this anime. They again raised the bar for high quality animation. Everything about Violet Evergarden's animation was perfect. The smoothness, the colors, the eye for detail, light and dark, the character design and the background art. There isn't a single detail that I can give critique on. Other animation studios must step up their game, because KyoAni's animation is way out of their league right now. In a KyoAni review, my first positive point about the animation is usually followed by a positive point about the music, since KyoAni also always delivers great OSTs in their animes. But it's the same as with the animation. If I would simply say that the music in Violet Evergarden was good or great, then that would be a disgrace to this anime. The OST in Violet Evergarden was a true eargasm. The music is mind-bogglingly beautiful. I already noticed that the music was good whilst watching the anime, but it was when I listened to the entire CD that I truly fell in love with it. It felt like I was standing in the middle of a symphonic orchestra, because it was simply one. In certain pieces, I thought that I was listening to a Mozart symphony, whilst others made me think of more romantic composers like Chopin or Tchaikovsky. There are multiple pieces that still make me have goosebumps when I hear them. Some of my favorites are Across the Violet Sky, To the End of Our Worlds, and my number one, The Love That Binds Us. I still get chills every time I hear that one. I place this music together with the OSTs of Clannad, Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso and Nagi no Asukara. It is amazing and I am really considering buying the CD Auto Memories just to have a hard copy of this. Then it is highly time to talk about the story of Violet Evergarden. I'm not even going to start about how good the development for Violet is in this anime, because then we're still here tomorrow morning. What I will say about the overall story is that one question dominates this anime, being what is love? I think Violet literally asked that question at the beginning of the anime, and it is her goal to understand what love means. It is one of the most basic questions in life and one that we all search the answer for. And through this anime, Violet does start to understand what love means, and she experiences multiple forms of love, going from romantic love between two lovers, to the love of a sister for her brother and the love of a parent for his or her children. Violet Evergarden did an amazing job at showing the different forms of love that exist and how precious they are. But rather than the overall story, I will congratulate Violet Evergarden even more on the individual episodes themselves. Each episode was a little diamond on its own. Every episode was polished to an immaculate shine, and they made up the jewel that Violet Evergarden was. What I also really appreciated was the variety of stories in this anime. Yes, most episodes are drama episodes like it should be in this anime, but there is for instance also episode 5. Episode 5 features a pretty standard prince-princess story, and despite a lot of people complaining that it was a useless episode in Violet Evergarden, I really enjoyed it. As much as I love my romance dramas, I can't live without a full-blown romance story from time to time, and this episode did just that. It felt like a breather in this anime. Plus, it also wasn't a useless episode, since that was the first time that Violet got an idea of what true love between two people means. But after the joyful episode 5, it was time to dive headfirst into the drama and the sadness. The further this anime progressed, the sadder it became. Like I said, every episode is a diamond on its own, and I could make a segment about every single episode, but then this video would be an hour long. So in short, some of my favorite episodes were first episode 7, about the one about the writer, because that was one of the first really sad moments in Violet Evergarden. My favorite episode definitely was episode 10, about Anne and her mother Clara. That is, you know that I can't handle that shit. That is stuff that makes this man cry. And I admit that I nearly cried at the end of that episode. It was definitely the most powerful one in the series, also in terms of development for Violet. And the final episode that I will mention here is the following episode 11, because that one also had a really sad ending. Now, believe it or not, I am going to mention a few downsides of Violet Evergarden as well. But don't worry, they get outshined by the positive points every day of the week. My first negative point is that I missed a bit of an overall story to bind everything together. Yes, there is the question of what is love, but I like it more when there is a clear goal in an anime, a target where the story can develop towards. To use a bit of a metaphor, I missed the gold that would bind the diamonds of episodes together into a beautiful ring. And my second negative point is totally subjective, because this depends from person to person. Violet Evergarden wasn't as sad as I anticipated. I read a lot of people online who did find Violet Evergarden really sad and who cried in several episodes, but I didn't. As I mentioned, I really teared up at the end of episode 10, and there were a few other scenes which grabbed me by the throat. But Violet Evergarden didn't become the second Clannad that I was hoping for. I can compare it to Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso, which was also really sad and extremely well written, but both of them missed that final push to make me cry, which only 3 episodes have succeeded in till today. So as a conclusion, was Violet Evergarden an excellent anime with mind-boggling animation and OST which I will never get bored of? Yes. Did it fulfill all the expectations that I had? No. As I said in my intro, Violet Evergarden was my most anticipated anime ever, and the fact that I had to wait 1.5 years for it to come out made that my expectations and my anticipations for this anime only became greater. Now, besides that the anime didn't make me cry, Violet Evergarden was still a real treat and definitely one of the best animes of 2018 so far. So overall, I am going to rate Violet Evergarden at a big 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was nearly perfect, like Shikatsu wa Kimi no Uso was 3 years ago. And before I forget, Violet Evergarden get the stamp of GV's anime of the season for winter 2018. I admit that it was close with Karakai Josu no Takagi-san, but in the end I asked myself the question which anime will I remember the longest, and the answer to that is Violet Evergarden. And even better news is that the fun hasn't ended yet. The extra episodes will come out this month, and just a few days ago we got the announcement that there will also be a movie of Violet Evergarden, and presumably not a recap movie but a genuine new movie. The sad part is that we will have to wait till January 2020 for it to come out. But hey, I waited so long for the anime, I will be patient for the movie as well. For an anime this great, it's only natural that my recommendations will be other great animes. I definitely recommend watching both Clannad and Shikatsu wa Kimi no Uso. Both of them have really well written storylines about development and personal growth, and they're both also sad as hell. Different recommendation is Saikano. Saikano is a bit of a fucked up anime, and it also features a female main character who used to be a weapon and now struggles with her past. Lastly, if you want something that's a little bit lighter, I recommend watching Sakuraso no Pet Nakanojo, one of my all-time favorite romance animes. Both Sakuraso and Violet Evergarden feature a female character searching the meaning of love and going through a lot of development and grief in finding it. And with that I conclude my final review for winter 2018 of Violet Evergarden. As usual, you can find the full list of all my animes and reviews over at Anime Planet. As usual, I will put a link in the description box down below. Now, if you want me to review a particular anime from this list, please put it in the comments. Also, if you have a recommendation for me, put it in the comments as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, visit me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and subscribe to this channel for more reviews in the future. Then I will say arigatou gozaimasu and I will see you all in the next video.